travel isn't just about destinations, it's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
The Teen Junction with Cindy Poluta. Empowering teens, one conversation at a time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Teen Junction podcast with me, Cindy Poluta. As always, thank you for joining us wherever you might be listening, be it on the Spotify platform or on Prime Media Plus. Thank you to those of you who've sent Facebook messages, DMs on Instagram, just telling us how much you've connected with the show and giving us suggestions as to what you would like to hear on this episode. This podcast is for you. I'm just literally the host, getting the guests in to answer your questions. And I think as parents in this generation, we're very worried that we're messing it up. Like we're worried we're getting it wrong. Am I the right parent? Am I the wrong parent? Am I over-parenting? I just want you to know that if you're asking yourself those questions, you already are a caring parent. The fact that you are concerned as to whether or not you're getting it right or wrong means that you're probably better than a whole lot of the other parents out there. But I know that's no consolation to you at the moment because there's so much information out there. What do we do? What don't we do? And the truth is, all our children are unique. They are so different. And it takes a unique set of circumstances or unique style of parenting to parent your child. But it doesn't mean that we can't get the right experts in to understand why we worry so much about the way we are parenting our children, and generations before seem to not have cared as much as we do. So today I've called in Natalee Holmes of Conscious Connections to chat about parental guilt, how to stop ourselves comparing ourselves to others, and how to get over this fear of messing up. So Natalie, thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of the Teen Junction.
Thanks for having me, Cindy.
So we always like to just jump straight in. Why is guilt such a common feeling for parents, especially of teenagers?
Well, I think as parents, we always question, are we doing enough? Are we doing it right? Are we failing to meet this invisible standard that we think exists? And then throw in teenagers, and I think we like double second guess ourselves because teenagers are already withdrawing, they are pulling away, and the fact that they're now teenagers makes it even tougher for us. So we worry, the choices they're going to have to make have longer lasting consequences. Yeah. They're bigger choices. And it's kind of a really difficult stage. Do we advise or do we step back? Do they learn through their mistakes or do we, bubble wrap them? So I think you're constantly second guessing, and it's really, when it's not entirely in our control anymore, It makes it even more scary. Yeah.
So. And you touched on something so true there. It's because we have hindsight. We are living in very different times. And, we have the hindsight to say, the decision, you might not care to do maths right now, but you have to do the maths, Otherwise, it's going to close doors for you at university, which is, we understand the long-lasting effects, right? But then is that a way that it would show up in everyday parenting? Like, how does guilt show up in everyday parenting?
Well, I think we apologize a lot. We sometimes overcompensate. We say yes when we should actually in our guts know we should be saying no. Sometimes we're a helicopter parent and that just pushes them away a bit more. So, there are all these combinations, and I think it just comes from us feeling wobbly. It's a completely different stage to younger child parenting.
Yeah.
You're kind of asking yourself, what can I do? Can I do more? Should I do less? And you worry about the decisions because of those choices and the consequences. Because like you say, we've got hindsight. Yeah. And they just, my sons would say, Mum, you're such a boomer. The world is different. I'm like, really? So that's kind of how it shows up. We second guessing all the time.
And I wonder if our parents had this much guilt. Like, I wonder if our parents were like, oh, I was too harsh on them. I was too soft on them. I don't know if guilt, and maybe you can answer that, is it always like a bad thing? Like, is it bad that we sit there at night and we like go over the day and we're like, oh, I wasn't a parent there. I was over-parenting there.
So, I always say guilt is a useless emotion. I do think it is. But having said that, I do think if you can use it as a reflection point at the end of the day and go, could I have done that differently? Or how, he responded this way. What could I have done differently to make it a more, I don't know, constructive conversation? So I think if you can turn the guilt into a reflection exercise, then it can be useful. But I think to sit there and mull over it and kind of get stuck and paralyzed and feel I'm just such a terrible person, then it's useless.
So I think we also just need to be like a little bit compassionate with ourselves. I mean, as much as I often remind my children, like, this is my first time being a parent, eh? By the way, I've never had a 16-year-old daughter before.
Exactly.
You might think I know what I'm doing. But once upon a time, I was somebody's child as well. So I'm also learning this. And I think sometimes maybe as parents, when we do realize what we think we messed up, it's okay to forgive ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I tell my oldest all the time, I say, you and I, we're guinea pigs together, boy. Like, it's just, I'm figuring this out just like you are.
Yeah.
And we do have to be a bit kind, you know. I mean, and my motto with parenting is always be firm but kind. And I think it's important to be firm and kind on yourself too, you know. Just understand you're learning and have the discussion, you know. Say like, okay, boy, or okay, girl, what did we do? Or how would you have responded better? Because that went pear-shaped. What did we do? So, yeah, be open. Communication, I think.
Yeah, so like be firm. I love that. But be kind.
Yeah.
Because I think so often as parents, it's very hard to not see yourself as a teenager anymore. It's very hard to look at yourself and say, oh my gosh, I'm 40-something.
Yeah.
You know, and it feels like yesterday you were 16. So you can't be their friend. So you have to be firm. But at the same time, you know what they're going through. It's hard. It's tough out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, naturally now with WhatsApp and Instagram and TikTok and all of that, we're comparing ourselves to other parents and we're comparing our teens to other teens. And like, why are we doing it so much? Why are we not able just to live in our own little silo and say, this works for me and my family?
Yeah, I'm on a Facebook group that's about parenting teenagers specifically. And the questions that get asked on there, I see that. Parents are asking other parents, what is right, what is wrong? And, you know, I just kind of go, you're born with a maternal or a paternal instinct. Trust that. No one knows your child better than you, certainly not a Facebook group.
Yeah.
And also, you got to remember that what they post on social media is often the white picket fence perfect life.
Yeah.
And I think what I say to lots of people is, you're posting moments. You're not posting lives. And if you can keep that in your mind, that's the picture perfect moment, you know, you look at family photo shoots and you see those pictures, but you don't know behind the scenes. Everyone screamed and shouted to stand in the right place. So, you know, it's sad that that's what we compare ourselves to. And I think you have to let yourself off the hook a bit. So know that nobody posts the bad stuff. You post the special moments, the graduations, the awards, the birthday parties. But nobody's posting what actually happened 5 minutes before when no one wanted to be in the picture and you had to threaten them with their lives, you know?
I guess you're so right. We're posting moments, not lives, because if we're on, let's say we're on Facebook, for example, and we've got 450 friends, and 300 of those friends are posting, because generally awards season happens at the end of every term. So 300 of those friends just post one post of their child. It's going to feel like everybody's child is excelling. Yeah. And you might then think that you've got an average child.
Yeah. It actually sparked one of my blogs. I wrote, bravo to the unrecognized.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I don't know, it's sad. And then you feel less than, or what did I do wrong? Or should I have pushed my child more? You know, you have that second guessing doubt again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I guess my next question would be like, we're trying to be these perfect parents, right? And it's so hard because in my counseling, I'll have clients who say, well, let me start by saying that I didn't come from a normal family. And I will say, what is a normal family? And they'll say, I had a mom, a dad, a brother, and a sister. And I go, you know that American sitcom 4-people family is not reality anymore. And once you explain that actually having a nuclear family, which is what it's called, is the abnormal these days, then suddenly people go, oh, okay, so it's okay. And I feel like with parenting as well, we've been shown stuff and we've been, you know, I don't want to say conditioned, but to be like, this is the myth of perfect parenting, you know. What are some of the myths that we're buying into that you wish that we would just go, no, guys?
Well, I think number one, nobody's perfect, and I think people believe that good parents don't yell, they don't shout, they don't get angry, and I'm like, really?
I think I'm one of those. Yeah. I think I believe that, and I think because I'm in this field and I'm passionate about what I do, I feel like everything should just be a constructive conversation. Yes. But sometimes you're like, what were you thinking?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's frustration. And I mean, I'm a certified parent coach and people always go, oh, no, how would you do it? So I'm like, you know what? I can tell you how I do it, but in the moment, the buttons my kids push trigger me. So it's very different when you're in the moment. But I think that's one. I think another is that if you or your child is struggling, that you're to blame. And that's not always the reason. It's not always your fault. There are other things that go on. So don't immediately, go, oh, I'm a terrible parent. Like, this is my fault. And then, I think other things are, I think also that there's one right way to raise a parent. You said that in the beginning. There's not a formula. I wish there was a formula. I wish they came with an instruction book, a 1-800 number, maybe even a warranty and a return policy. I don't know. So there isn't just one way to get it right. I think also one of the others is that love means you have to sacrifice. And I think a lot of parents put themselves or their marriages on the back burner. And, I always say to people, your kids will wait while you make time for your marriage. Your marriage won't necessarily wait if you prioritize your kids. And I get heavily debated with on that point. But, by 18, the kids are starting their own lives. And then what have you got left if you haven't made an effort? So you don't have to sacrifice everything because you've got children. Obviously, naturally, you do sacrifice a lot, but it's not a choice you should make and you also feel guilt over. You should
feel like you've touched on two very important points there. The most recent one being this one about your marriage coming first. Because if your marriage is not solid and if you're not happy together, when your children are 18, like you say, and 19, 20, 21, and they fly the nest, they're not going to want to come back to grumpy parents who fought all the time.
No, exactly. I know people like that. The kids go off to varsity and they don't want to come home. You have to organize family holidays and beg them to come because they're like, why? I'm happier. This is an easier place to be. Yeah, so it's sad.
It is.
But I think, you've got to also make time for your marriage as well.
And the other point you touched on there was that it's not the parent's fault if something goes wrong. I think, and us as parents are to blame because we judge other parents. We are the ones that look at other parents and go, oh, well, your child drank, before they... And it's so easy to, like people in glass houses, it's so easy to cast that first stone. But I think it's so important that parents hear, and I'm sure you feel this in your practice, that parents hear that, they see that their child has done something wrong. You could have given your child the most perfect upbringing. Don't do this, don't do that. I don't want to say trained them, but coached them, but supported them and guided them in a certain way. You're not going to be there when they're at a party and somebody offers them their first joint. Yeah. You're not going to be there when they're at a party and somebody offers them their first hit of whatever or their first drink of whatever. You've done everything right as a parent. They've perhaps been in a bad situation, surrounded themselves with the wrong people. There's so many other things that can go wrong that you don't need to now come down on yourself about it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I look at my kids and I go, you did that and you share my DNA and I raised you the way I believed. Like, what were you thinking?
Exactly.
But I mean, we also, if I link back there, I made some bad choices as a kid and I was a very responsible kid. You know? So
it's also part of them learning. They need to make bad choices for themselves.
To know, I mean, hopefully not too bad, but
hopefully we can bring them back.
Like irreversible choices.
Yeah, but I mean, if you as a parent haven't given them a loaded gun, then you can't blame yourself. You can only blame yourself if you yourself have given them the keys to the car and said, go on a joyride, and they're not of age. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So then how do you set boundaries then? How do you stop yourself from comparing both online and in real life? Because it's difficult.
Yeah, it is difficult. So I think you've got to choose who you follow. It's like a diet. You choose what you put into your body. You choose the thoughts that you allow in. If there's someone that you're following that makes you feel terrible, don't follow them because it's probably not real. So that's one. So manage your social media flow. Unfollow those accounts. Don't allow yourself to feel less than.
Yes.
By looking at these people, and just be discerning with your digital content. I think another thing is we all try follow as much as we can because we want to get it right.
Yeah.
It's like information, and in this day and age with podcasts and online books and everything, there's so much information out there that you feel you should get it right.
Yeah.
But sometimes, be discerning. Like who are you following? What are they saying? Cut out the junk.
Yeah.
And cut out the fake. And then in real life, for those parents who come to you, I always say the best parents are the parents who aren't parents yet, because they are so judgy and they will get it right. They'll never do that. But I think in conversations, you have those parents who make you feel lousy because they tell you all about their child's achievements and their marks and whatever. And I think you can steer the conversation around to how are they doing? Are they coping with their friend circles? Are they happy? Make it a bit more real. So what that they got straight A's? Ultimately, great, nice for you. My kid's only going to get straight C's, so that's okay. But I'm not going to feel bad about that. But are they happy? Are they talking to you? Are they, make it a bit more real? How are they doing with their friends? Ask how they're doing emotionally. I mean, I know that sounds like a coachy question, but make it more real. You don't have to get sucked into this. Here's my accolade of awards and achievements as if they're yours.
Yeah.
I think that, and then just catch the moments. Remember, it's not about the moments; it's about the life. How's their life actually?
And it's such a short chapter.
It goes so
it's
fast.
Such a short. This teenagehood. It is just whizzing as past. I mean, just yesterday, I said to them, I was driving with my kids in the car, and I said to them, If a genie in a bottle had to come to me right now and grant me a wish, like back in the past, I would have gone, I want to win the lotto, which, obviously that's just standard, but, But if I had to, I said to them, I just want to go back to when you were 5 and 3, knowing what I know now, and just have a week with you, because I feel like I would just be
different.
I would have enjoyed it more. I wouldn't have felt like I was such in survival mode. I think I would have just enjoyed it more.
I read a poem the other day, and it was about if you told me it was the last. And it was I was like bawling the last time I picked you up, the last time you sat on my lap, the last time I hugged you. And I mean, even now I'm getting goosebumps. I'm like, you just don't know. And
saddest, my kids laughed at me, but I said to them, this is the saddest TikTok I've ever watched. And I showed them a video, and it's a woman, and it's got this really sad music. And she says, and she just looks back in the car, and she films back, so where the baby seats would have been and stuff, it's just empty.
Oh, my word, no.
That was me.
I would have cried.
I was finished. I was like, they're gonna have their own cars and they're not gonna need me.
Yeah.
So that's our sadness. So what are the fears that the parents are feeling, about parenting teenagers and getting it wrong?
Sure. I think sometimes, one of my biggest fears is, what if I broke them? When I've had a meltdown or whatever, and I'm like, is that something they're going to be in therapy for later on? And I think also, has that broken our relationship? Are we still going to have a relationship?
Yeah.
Because I've been a bit tough this time, or did I damage that? That for me is a big fear. Am I still going to be the one they come to talk to? And
are they going to want to come back?
Yeah, are they want to come back?
So how do we make sure they're going to want to come back?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's really hard with teenagers because they, as a kid, they're with you all the time. Then they become, from 11, 12, their peers become much more important than you. But I think ultimately, if they come back for the big decisions, what am I going to study after school? What should I do? Which car should I buy? They come back to you. And I think you've got to also get a shift in your head that they're not coming to you for the cuddles and those things anymore, the day-to-day things.
Yeah.
Especially if you have boys, it was, then the girlfriend replaces all that,
yes.
But I think ultimately they're the ones, my oldest is 25 and something happened the other day and he phoned me.
Oh.
And I was crying because I thought, he phoned me. It was me. He picked up the phone.
I love that. I also want to burst
I know,
into
and
tears.
it's so silly. And, it means nothing to them. It's like, I better phone my mom. Meanwhile, you're going, they still come back to me, So, yeah, they do. I think if you can always be real, keep the communication open, and just... be their safe space. That's also critical, I think.
So there'll be some people listening who go, oh my gosh, that is my fear, that my child's not going to come back, and they're 15, 16 or whatever, and they're already not coming back. How do I repair? What do I do? How do I acknowledge I made a mistake but still come across as the parent and not the friend?
So I think being real, like being open and saying, you know what, I messed up. That was on me. This time I messed up. And one of the most interesting things I used to say to parents to do is at the dinner table, ask them how they think you're doing as a parent.
Oh,
I know.
Are we ready for that?
Exactly.
Natalie?
And that's exactly everyone's response. But
I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to go, okay, guys, here are the KPIs.
Exactly.
The KPIs of my parenting.
Yeah.
What did you rate me out of 10? I know I'd get 0 for dinner, by the way. On the nutrition level.
But it's an interesting exercise. Like I used to have to brace myself every now and again when I did it. And it's not something you do all the time.
I think I'm going to try it.
It's very interesting. I promise you, Cindy, the things they say and you go, hell's bells, is that what I'm portraying? Or is that what they're reading? You know, I mean, I used to, in my parenting classes, I'd do this exercise where I'd say to people, you know, do you love your kids unconditionally? And everyone would say yes, put up their hands. And then I'd say, now, do you feel you were loved unconditionally? And half the hands go down. But if I'd asked their parents, they would have said, of course I love my child unconditionally.
Yeah.
So I think getting that right is difficult. It's not as easy as you think. And if your child can feel unconditional love, that you are their safe space, that's how you mend it. Like that's when you know you're getting it right. And if you're asking those questions, you care so deeply that you want to get it right. So you're already halfway there, like you said in the beginning. You know? So
does it come back to then, because you said unconditional love, I feel like unconditional love would come back to being firm but kind. Because I know I'm going to get in trouble because my mom's going to be firm, but she's going to understand and help me.
And I think also this is something we don't do, is separate the deed from the doer.
Yeah.
You know what, you messed up and I don't like your choice, but I still love you. And that is so hard. And I think for teenagers to feel, okay, you know what, I screwed up properly, but I know I can tell my mom and she's not going to put me up for adoption or anything.
Yeah.
Like, I think separating that, and that's hard for us to do because you so want to go, you idiot, or how could you do that, or you are disappointment. Don't do that. Like that, your choice was disappointing, but you are still my child, you know, and we'll figure it out. You know, you messed up, I mess up sometimes. Let's figure it out together.
Sure.
Hard.
I think it's also very difficult for you then as to take a step outside and go, hang on, I know I am the parent, but I also have to listen to what they have to say back to me. I have to be constructive in that. I've got to be able to also take the feedback. My oldest daughter's very good with, I don't know how she's so diplomatic. She does not get it from me because I'm very black and white. And she is so diplomatic. And she'll be honest and say, I don't like the way you did that, or it's unfair, or she'll say, just listen to yourself. Like if I'm shouting, she'll be like, you're getting angry for no reason right now. Just listen to what you are saying, which then makes me angrier because I'm like, what do you mean I was listening to myself? But what is it that then and I love that thing of sitting at the dinner table to ask them like, how am I doing as a parent? Because I think it's there that we're going to realize what they need from us. So in your practice, because you work in parental coaching, what do you think it is that teenagers need from us as parents, as opposed to what we think they need from us as parents?
It's a tough one because it's counter almost all our intuitive wants to do, the things we want to do with them. You know, like they need space. They need grace. They need to feel accepted regardless. Because a lot of teens will go through all this experimentation with different things. Change their hair, they change their shoes, and sometimes gender, whatever it is. But if they know, I love you who you are, and this is your safe space, and you will always be accepted here. Your behavior maybe not, but yes, you. I think that gives them a bit of freedom to feel safe. To feel, okay, I'm accepted. And, you know, okay, maybe I make this choice to smoke and my mother won't approve of that. But at least she's not, you know, and it's okay to say that. You know, say, look, you're making a bad choice. Like long term, they don't get it because they don't think long term.
They don't.
Ever. But I think you also need your boundaries. And I think that's where a lot of teen parents go wrong. You kind of go, oh, well, they're teenagers now. What can I do? But you've still got to have those boundaries in place and respect their autonomy to a point, as long as they are respectful back to you.
Yes.
And I think that's also an issue. You know, teenagers talk like dirt to their parents sometimes. And I would turn around and say, you know what, I wouldn't let a stranger talk to me like that. So when you found your respect, come back and we can finish this conversation.
Yeah.
That's my boundary. And I think parents are scared to put boundaries in place as teenagers. And then you're comparing, but everyone says that, there's going to be drinks at this party for 16-year-olds. I'm like, well, I'm not providing them. It's not going to happen at your party.
Yeah.
And I don't care, And I had a friend when I was about 19, and her mom and dad got divorced early. They didn't really parent. So she was clubbing at 14, she was doing everything.
Yeah.
Everything we were not.
So cool when you're not, when
yeah,
you're.
Exactly. But from 14, and I bumped into her at 19, and she said, so, how's this, and how's your love life, and how's your sex life, and how's this and this? And I was like, no, I'm still not quite there yet.
Yeah.
And she said to me, and it was such a pivotal moment for me, she said to me, you know what, Natalie, you're actually so lucky. I'm 19, and I have nothing left to look forward to.
Yeah.
And it was huge. It really was a pivotal moment. I thought, okay, my parents were super strict, but in that moment, I was a little bit grateful that they held me back a bit. At the time, I didn't like it at all. But so if you can hang on to that as a parent and know, you know what, you don't have to live up to what the Joneses are doing with their kids.
Yes.
These are your children. And I'd say to my kids, they're not my responsibility. I am in charge of you.
Yep.
You are my responsibility. I have to live with the consequences of the choices I make. And right now, this is what I believe is right.
Yeah.
And I think our parents are getting lost on that. We are, because we're holding ourselves up to other people's standards. And it's not necessarily right for us or for our kids. So,
I think those boundaries that you talk about are so important, because as soon as we realize a teenager's job is to
push
break boundaries, guys. They're there to break the rules. They're there to be the anti-establishment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think sometimes it's very hard. We have to be like, so firm. You're like, I know you really want to go to that really cool party, but exactly like you say with your friend, if they don't have those boundaries, then they don't have the certain coming of age milestones that come with certain things, right?
Yeah. And, I'd say to my kids, I'm not naive. I know there's going to be alcohol at that party, but that means I'm picking you up. You're not sleeping over, because I want to make sure you're fine.
Yep.
So, and also when they had those house parties, I would go in and make sure there was a parent there. Like, Mom, I can't believe you're doing that. I'm like, I'm doing it. This is a condition of you going, as long as I know there's a parent in the house.
Yes.
So, it's you might not be popular at the time, but down the line they'll appreciate it. And also, you don't want to go after that party and go, oh my word, I should have checked there was a parent there. Look what happened.
You're so right.
That is awful. To
so
regret
right.
it just because you're scared of what people might think of you. So you know what? Ditch that. Do what your gut tells you is right.
Yeah.
And just be a calm, show up for them, but be calm, curious, listen to them. And that's much more powerful for teenagers than trying to be dogmatic and Yeah. So just try.
Everything within reason. Everything within reason, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So then how do I then stop beating myself up and just realize that I'm never going to be the perfect parent, because there's no such thing, and what I'm currently doing is good enough?
So what does good enough mean for you, Cindy? Is it being responsive? Is it being curious? Is it being there? I think you've got to decide what is good enough, and then, ditch the guilt, reflect on the values you have, the values you're trying to impart on them, and that's what has got to be your anchor or your guide, your compass. And if you feel like, honestly, I am doing what I think I should be doing, regardless of what Mrs. Jones next door is doing, just let yourself be seen, flaws and all. And I think that's critical with our teenagers. When the kids are little, we are perfect. Like what mommy says is absolute truth. Exactly. But then they start to see your flaws when you become a teenager.
Yeah.
And I think if you can be real about that and just say, you know what, I'm not perfect. You are my first 16-year-old. Or, this is what I think. Life is different. I understand that.
Yeah.
But let's do this together in a way that is kinder
best for
to
both of us, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
So before I let you go, some closing
It's all right.
questions. What do you think, or what would you tell a parent who thinks like they're failing?
I would ask them why. Like, why do they think they're failing? And the other thing is, you can't undo the years. You can go forward and you can try and make changes now. But why? Why do you think you're failing? Like, what is it? And then I think, again, if you reflect on that enough, you'll know where you think you're failing.
Yeah.
And then what can we do to change that? Is it that you are super strict now and they're 16, 17? Like, can you be that strict? Is that why they're lying? Is that why they're hiding stuff from you? And I think on a level, everyone knows in their gut. So like just look at what you're doing. Like, where are your core values? What can you let go of? What can't you? What are your non-negotiables? And then let's figure out a different way of parenting going forward. Because now you're in a different stage. It's different. You don't just get to say, go to your room and I'll have a nap. Or mind you,
You don't get to say you will wear the pink tutu
Yes, exactly.
with the rainbows because I bought it for you, and
you
you're going to
will
look
eat
so
this.
super cute with the bows in your hair.
Yes. Yeah, so I think just, again, be kind,
And what does a healthy present parent look like? Like a real parent.
For me, I think being real. Like, for a parent of a teenager, you're no longer on a pedestal. So the more real you can be, apologize when you've messed up. Just say, you know what, I was having a terrible day and I took that out on you and I'm sorry. Or I didn't listen to you properly, or I didn't think that my gut response was just a no. Let me just think about it for a second.
Yeah.
And it's okay to step away and say, you know what, I'm not in the right headspace to make this decision now. I hear you, but I need to think it through. Because, we do that in business. We do that with other adults. Give me a few days to think about that. Do it with your kids. Show them you're actually considering it. And they probably will accept your answer a bit easier because they know it's considered and they feel heard. So, and then I think we've got to regulate our own emotions. They're already on this emotional, hormonal yo-yo.
It's like we've got the hormones of the teenager, and then we're going through menopause, and my poor husband
it's like it was bad
with
planning.
all 3 girls in the house. I think he just goes for a lot of drives by himself.
Plays golf. It's 5 hours.
By himself.
Yeah, so I think model the adult you'd like them to be. I think
that's beautiful. Be the adult you would like them to be. That is beautiful.
Yeah, so if you can model growth and not be hard on perfection, you're teaching them exactly what they're going through. They're growing, they're learning. They're not going to be perfect, and they've got to have a bit of forgiveness. And I think for you also, just think. Become a conscious parent.
Yeah. So what's finally one mind shift you recommend to help parents feel like more grounded?
Sure. I think for me, again, I go back to being real. But I think for them, like, with your actions, like, are you building your relationship and are you building trust? Are you reinforcing that you're the safe place to be? And if you're getting that right, then you're in the right mindset, I think. If you feel like you've got to be stricter and tougher and really teach them a lesson, you're just putting a distance or a wedge between you. So I think the mind shift needs to be model who you want them to be, build trust, be their safe space, and just keep learning. You're learning together, and be open to that. Mm-hmm.
There have been so many wonderful moments from today's episode. I'm 100% going back to listen to this episode at least 3 times so they can, with a pen and paper, so that they can all and then when my kids are like, can you? I'll be like, no, I'm listening to this very important episode about how to parent you. Just be quiet while I quickly do this. But I think the 2 big takeaways for me are: be the parent that you want them to be the adult that you want your child to be in the world. I think that's so important because we often enforce on them what we would love them to be, as opposed to looking at ourselves and saying, this is how you need to model yourself. And then be firm, but be kind. Yeah. I think that's so lovely. Natalee Holmes of Conscious Connections. I could have spoken to you all day. And I know there are parents who are going to want to reach out to you. So how can they do that? And what is Conscious Connections? Like, what is it that we're working on here?
So for me, why I got the name Conscious Connections, because I feel like it's about relationships and connection, and you have to be conscious in how you connect and how you establish relationships. So that's kind of how I got the name. I think being conscious parenting, conscious leadership, conscious adulting, whatever it is. I do a lot of coaching. I do a lot of parent coaching. I also see youth and adolescents. I'm a certified youth and adolescent counselor.
I love that.
Yeah, it's cool. It's tough sometimes in this day and age, but I think there's a very big need for it. Kids are lost.
Yes.
And so that's my website, consciousconnections.co.za. And then my email is Natalie@consciousconnections. And I'm happy to give out my phone number. It is my work number. So it's 082-525-7941.
Lovely.
I'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so very much. A colleague asked me before I came to record today's episode, do you feel like you're learning? Do you feel like the Teen Junction is helping your parenting? And I had to ponder for it for a little bit. And now I realize it actually is.
That's awesome.
When I leave this episode, I have to go and apologize to my daughter for shouting at her last night for coming into the room to ask me a very random thing about measurements while I was trying to just have my safe space. I think after today, I've realized I have to say to her, I mean, you've shown me, I have to say to her, sorry about the way I exploded last night. Please understand that after 8 o'clock at night is my downtime. So if you could just keep the measurements, the much needed measurements to a minimum at 8. Yeah. But thank you so much, Natalie.
Thanks for having me, Cindy.
I really appreciate it. Yeah. And to all of you listening, I hope that you've learned as much from this episode as I have today and gained so much. Please reach out to us on Facebook and Instagram. If there's anything else you would like us to cover in the Teen Junction podcast, then thank you for listening via Spotify or Prime Media Plus. And stay connected. Remember, be firm, but be kind.
PrimeMediaPlus.com. Your connection to what matters most.